There's a time for everything in life, and transitions can be hard. We as human beings often have our eyes focused on the past because our memories make up so much of who we are and form so much of who we are that we tend to constantly have our eye in the rearview mirror rather than forward. There are so many possibilities before us in our future because we are human beings, because we're not creatures. If we were a creature, if we were an animal, be a dog. But for human beings, since we have so many opportunities, we have so many options, we have so many possibilities, uncertainty is always in the future. And certainty, no matter how terrible our past was, is in the past, and living in those memories is comfortable because they are sure, they are set in stone. The future and all the opportunities, all the possibilities that lay before us are not set in stone. They are still yet to be imagined. And in a way, imagination is scary in that way. Our imagination runs wild if our consciousness has some kind of root in fear or some kind of deep-seated, unrecognized, unilluminated relationship to it. This fear, it starts with instinct when we're, of course, very young, when we're born. But the fears become more surrounded around social situations and our relationship to society, not accomplishing this or that based on societal standards, based on our groupthink, based on our group's expectations of us. And also, we imagine things that we want for ourselves in our lives, and we fear not meeting that desire that we think is rooted in us. Desires they pass by very quickly, and they can change very easily. But in describing and understanding ourselves, we often place certain desires for the future of our lives at the core of our being. And this core is the temporary self, this one life, and, related to also the group self, our relationship to the group. So much of who we are there's so many things around soul, even around life force. There's so many things that we wrap around it in a single life. It's almost like our soul's completely foreign to us. But if we can, how do I say this? How to get past all this stuff and actually experience the soul is find that part of yourself that's always at the very, very center and has never changed. And that is not tied to a particular emotion, particular memory, and a particular definition that is temporary. There's always a pole for a single human being upon which everything revolves. And these self-described poles, like the desires we talked about and our expectations of the world, and the expectations we have for ourselves, we usually think that that's at the core of our being, but it's not. Or certain personality traits are at the core of our being, but it's not. There is something behind all this that you can find for yourself that is the pole upon which all of this wraps and all of this cloaks. And the cloak itself, like Paramahansa Yogananda said, when we take up a body, at first it's like a heavy woolen, dense coat in summer. At first it's uncomfortable, but then you get used to it. Even our body itself is the cloak, but I'm talking about also, the thoughts and self-identifications. That's the other cloak that I'm talking about, that we wrap ourselves with. And we think it's the pole at the center of our being, but it's not. Try to find the pole at the center of your being, whatever that is, and you find a path to your soul, to experiencing who you truly are. Get past all of the layers. Easier said than done, I know. Meditation helps. But also self-reflection, self-understanding. Reading and contemplating also helps. Like, for instance, Hegel's phenomenology of the spirit. It's almost like he's trying to scientifically... When I say scientifically, your mind jumps to the science that, we all know, empiricism. He's trying to show through, the evidence of ideas, he's trying to show how philosophy is its own kind of science. And that philosophy is an expression of the spirit. And the spirit is an expression of the absolute God. And the soul is, I think soul and spirit for Hegel is extremely similar. but there's also the spirit of a time and so forth. But he tries to scientifically explain, through working through the ideas with you in the book, the phenomenon of the spirit, the phenomenology of the spirit, and it's how it exists in relation to consciousness, to the absolute, to itself, how it experiences itself, how the absolute experiences itself, how the absolute is conscious, and in the way, and before it became everything, it was unconscious. So it became conscious, it became everything to experience itself, and then that's when God truly became conscious. Anyway, besides going into all that, going back to my main point, find that pole within yourself upon which everything wraps. Doesn't look like anything, doesn't necessarily feel like anything in the usual sense. Just find it. And then if you find just a piece of that pole, you can experience your soul. At any rate, I hope this was interesting. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, shoot them down in the comment section below on YouTube. Feel free to share this video wherever you want. And please become a patron on Patreon at patreon.com/darkrealist, capital D, capital R. I would greatly appreciate any donations, and I don't ask for much. As long as you give me at least $1 a month, you get access to some interesting journal entries after rituals and other ideas, plus all of my YouTube videos in one place. At any rate, thank you very much for watching. I hope this was interesting, and I hope all of you have a wonderful day.